All right, guys, we are rolling, and today we are going to be talking about a video that took many, many years to actually pull off, bitten by a tarantula. Woo! Look at that. And how many of you watching right now would love to be standing right here with me, appearing on the Brave Wilderness channel? Well, now it's your turn. For the first time ever, we're inviting anyone brave enough to join me and the crew on a real Brave Wilderness adventure starring you. Our expedition will take us to Zion National Park, where we'll be staying at some awesome campgrounds right next to all sorts of adventure activities, including canyoneering, rock climbing, and searching for real dinosaur tracks in the deserts right outside of Zion. And of course, it wouldn't be a Brave Wilderness weekend if we didn't go looking for some seriously bizarre creatures. Not an animal expert? Not a problem. There's gonna be something for everyone on these epic adventures. Over 3 unforgettable days, you'll also hike stunning trails, make lasting friendships, and learn the secrets of what it takes to make the world's most viral wildlife videos directly from me. Spots are on sale right now, but they're going quickly. So click the link in the description or follow the link right here on the screen so you can book your spot and see if you have what it takes to become brave. I'll see you out there. This episode of Becoming Brave is brought to you by Summit Adventure Fuel. Unlock your next adventure and get there. Actually, it was before your time, Andrew and Asa, that we had first attempted.
I didn't know there was an initial attempt. This is news to me.
Yes.
I've never seen that video before.
Yes. So not only are we going to dive into behind the scenes of this episode that we made a couple years ago, but we are also going to talk about some of the challenges of making a video like this. Not only the logistical production stuff, but we're also going to talk about like getting the spider to cooperate stuff. And believe it or not, sometimes these bite sting tests are not as easy as they look because the animals don't really want to bite you. But, you know, I guess to kick this off, let's set up the environment and the scene. This is a couple of fall seasons ago that we shot this.
Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, was this...
Or like a year and a half?
This was August of 2023, I think.
Yeah. Seeing when it was released. It was released a year ago.
October 2023, I think.
Okay. October 2023. So not quite 2 years, like a year and a half-ish. Mm-hmm. And we were going out to just attempt some things that had not worked out in the past. And Bitten by a Tarantula seemed like a really good place to start with spiders on the Bite Sting Index. But what do you guys remember about going to Arizona on this trip? Like, tell me about, you know, your thoughts of going to the Sonoran Desert, filming a video like this to kick us off.
It was my first time in the Sonoran Desert, so I'd been down to New Mexico before, and I'd say I think it's a lot more striking in that area, like especially with the big cacti.
Absolutely.
Like, those are super cool.
Saguaro National Park, or National Monument, there's two sides of it, and Tucson, city of Tucson, splits it. I think it's one of the most beautiful places in the United States. Just the amount of cacti, the amount of rock and, you know, color that happens at sunset. Like, probably the best sunsets in the United States are in the Sonoran Desert.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And it was nice because we kind of just focused our efforts around golden hour. We kind of just like hung out during the day because it was August in Arizona. It was crushingly hot during the day. Like, nothing's moving around, including the wildlife. So there wasn't really much for us to film during the day, but, you know, just focusing all of our efforts around golden hour was pretty fun from a shooting perspective.
Totally.
I remember during the day we were like on a taco hunt to find the best tacos in Tucson.
We're not searching for animals, we're searching for food.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. And we ended up at that one spot, like Martin's or something, where we just got berated the second we walked in.
It's probably Martins.
Yeah.
Oh, but the tacos. I mean, if you are looking for good Tex-Mex food, like, look no further than Tucson, Arizona. Yeah. That's the best.
So good.
Andrew, what was this like for you in terms of your experience in the desert?
This was so different for me because this was our first time, my first time in the desert, but we had done quite a bit of jungle production at this point. So the difference between the jungle and the desert was super on display. You know, it's it was more accessible than I thought it would be in terms of in the jungle, there's only one path you can follow. But here, like you can see right behind you, it's like you can kind of go wherever you want. And the wildlife could be anywhere along the way, too. So you kind of keep your head on a swivel, like watching out for snakes and stuff like that.
Totally. And there's periods during the day where there's like no animal activity, and then it's like everything's happening.
Yeah.
And that's a good segue to kick off the look at this video. If you haven't seen it before, we're going to be giving you some director and producer takes along the way, but we'll stop periodically to point out some things that may not be super obvious about the video, some of the dirty details, and then after we wrap up, we'll kind of dig into some really fun stories about this particular video.
Bitten by a tarantula.
I'm starting my search for Arizona's largest tarantula, and normally I do my best to not get bitten by giant hairy spiders, but today I'm going to intentionally take a bite from the desert blonde tarantula to see just how dangerous it really is. But before I can do that, I've got to catch one. Let's get searching. We're searching the Sonoran Desert of Arizona. Look at that right there. That's what we're talking about. Just so unlike anywhere else in the United States. All those cacti. To find these tarantulas, this desert is teeming. And Andrew, did you edit this one? Creatures, and the best time to find them is after dark. The sun is finally set. Headlamp is on. This headlamp is going to be the main tool that I use tonight to find one of these. Tarantulas are nocturnal, guys. That's why we're out looking for them at night. And the main reason for that is the desert heat during the day would absolutely roast most creatures, including humans. So we're super happy to be out at night at this point. To find one of these tarantulas. So I'm going to use my headlamp to sweep from side to side. There's not a lot that gives away other than just getting a light right on the tarantula itself. And then comes the tricky part, actually catching one. I also have a snake hook with me tonight, which could come in handy in catching a tarantula. Yes, so we call them biological landmines. It's a coined phrase in the brave wilderness zeitgeist. But the truth is, this is one of those environments where you have these super camouflage predators that are ultra venomous, like, the western diamondback rattlesnake, which we're looking at right there. There's Mojave rattlesnake. There's actually like many variety of rattlesnakes. But like, there's also like cactus, there's scorpions, there's centipedes. There's like a lot of things that you don't really want to unintentionally. Yeah, the cholla cactus, dude. Oof.
And they're all coming out at the same time of day.
Yeah. And the chollas are always there, but at night, obviously, you can't see them. So one of the tactics, we just quickly glazed over there, and the point of this podcast episode is to give you a little more detail. But we're using lights to illuminate the spiders. And unfortunately, unlike a wolf spider or some of the smaller species that you'll find in the desert, tarantulas don't have eye shine. So a lot of times when we're scanning for different species, one of the giveaways is their eyes will reflect back off the light. These spiders don't, but luckily they're so big, they do stand out.
Yeah,
so
they're super meaty.
Yeah, you see them.
Yeah, they almost look like a rodent on the ground.
Yeah, and they're furry. I mean, look at them, covered in hair, super hairy. But scorpions, we use black lights. When we're looking for snakes, it's kind of the same tactic of looking for snakes. So this is a good way to avoid stepping on them because we're illuminating the same thing. But when you're cruising the night in the desert, you should always have a flashlight. Big PSA. Almost all the snake bites I've ever heard of outside of like wildlife handlers are from people going outside at night without a flashlight. It's the number one way to prevent yourself from taking a bite from a snake in the desert. Just bring a light. I don't get close enough in time, it's pretty much game over and we'll have to find a new tarantula to catch. Wait, question. Was this your first time seeing a tarantula? Like
a wild
in the wild?
One, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't out in the deserts, like crawling around looking for tarantulas prior to this.
Yeah. I'm just curious. Whoa, we got a rattlesnake right there. You see it coiled up? Oh, right there. Before we get to the snakes,
a little bit, guys.
Before we get to the spiders, let's talk about
snakes.
snakes.
It's not a big one.
This is a juvenile, but it is still capable. And you can see how much energy it has, so definitely warm. That snake would bite you super fast. Just like this. So you can see right there, we're just trying to move the snake out of the way. We're out there very intentionally trying to film this video because it was one of, I think, 3 episodes we were trying to get on this trip. What, you guys remember the other 2? Desert Hairy Sting?
Desert Harry's Yeah, Desert Hairy Sting,
cow
Cow
killer.
Killer, and we were trying to do the Tarantula Hawk,
but failed.
but failed.
We caught an assassin bug. We thought it was a
yeah,
tarantula.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
totally different story. All right, let's keep going on this. Desert hairy scorpion right there. See if I can grab it. Best way to do this is just to grab right at the top knuckle.
I love the way scorpions move.
See if we can get him to calm down.
I think it's kind of
Stay,
funny.
buddy. Stay, buddy. Come on.
It's kind of goofy. They're very top heavy.
Yeah.
Just strike mode.
Oh,
Got him. Oh, yeah, he's been chilly. All right, here we go. Let's see, show you what we got here. That is a pretty good size giant desert hairy scorpion. The largest
That'll be another
species of scorpion
video
in the
we
United
wanna
States. Luckily, I've
do
got
a
good grip
unpacking of
on its
is
stinger there, but you
the
can see
giant desert hairy
a
sting.
little bit of venom.
Talk about how
starting to
bad
come out
this
of the
thing
tip
is.
of it. If you don't grab these guys correctly, they will give you a pretty good pop. You can see why they call them the desert hairy. Look at all the hairs all over its body. It doesn't get much cooler than these large scorpions. All right, let's put them back and keep looking for those tarantulas. Scorpions and tarantulas are out here hunting the same food. I have a feeling we're closing in on our giant spider.
A little leading voiceover there.
Oh, I got a spider right there.
There it is. So, in actuality, this was not the first spider that we saw, because as the spiders were starting to come out of their dens and their burrows, like they would just like have their legs poking out, and as soon as we would hit them with the light, they would just bolt back down. So we were kind of like cruising this desert area behind a golf course, and we had to like seriously like hunt, and every time we'd see a spider, it would just like slink back in. So it was almost just like timing it correctly. Do you guys remember doing that?
Yeah, you had to sneak up on it. You had to keep the lights low.
Yeah.
You'd have to get in there with your snake hook and try and...
now is it the females who hang out by their burrow and go away quickly? Because I think this one's a male, right?
All the spiders have burrows.
Oh, they do.
They do.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the females tend to not move as much.
Mm-hmm.
The males are usually like a little bit more nomadic, and they will
Uh-huh.
they will
Go on a
travel
journey.
further. They're just more agile too. They're lighter weight.
That's something I didn't know, was that tarantulas actually have like burrows before we went there. And then it was weird to, like, the first night we were out, I thought we were going to be kind of on the hunt and they would be like walking around, but it was no, they're very much planted on top of that hole, like, and they pop in and out. And then during the day, you would never see them. You just know that you'd think it's a snake hole if you didn't know.
Totally. And when you see the burrows during the day, you kind of look at them and you just dismiss them. You're just like, nothing's in there. But there is. But there is.
All right, got my container. Let's see if we can get a catch. Okay, it's holes right here. Going to need to move in carefully.
This is a legit catch right here. This is, I
That is
don't
a
think we
big
did any
male.
retakes of this.
Oh, no.
Legit miss.
Fast. They are.
They were
fast.
quick.
Hang on. Maybe I can coax it back
The
up.
males were kind of gross too, with their spindly legs. They get up high.
Lost it. Wait,
Oh, I
hang on.
lose this one?
It's still there.
I haven't seen this one in a
I
second.
got it back.
Is this a miss?
I got it back.
No, you know,
I get
There
it.
he
I
is.
get it, right?
Here he is.
Snake hook is coming in clutch. Coax it this direction.
Yeah, and they kind of like, they just make that like
Abdomen
that
up.
lunge.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Just bit the snake hook. Here we go, guys. Got it. Here we go.
That's a big boy.
Woo!
Really
Oh,
good
buddy.
size male.
That is a good one. Big male desert blonde tarantula.
Oh, man.
After a little bit of searching and a little bit of luck, then we brought the snake hook.
Now these are the
Ourselves.
spiders that you will
Our
predominantly
tarantula.
see, tarantulas, I mean, that you will see out in the Sonoran Desert. So if you're out there, like in the southwest of the United States, and you see a big spider, I would say almost always it's going to be this species. There are other species,
Another
but
tarantula.
this is
This
the
one
main
looks bigger. Oh yeah, okay. Let's try to catch this one too. All right, I don't know how close it is to its
One's
hole.
in
but
much
we're going
better.
for the catch. Here we go. Holy cow, that is a huge freaking spider, guys. Wow.
Stating the obvious. I'm really good at that.
That
That's
It's a
the biggest
specimen
spider I have
we
ever
been
caught.
after. That is a truly huge tarantula. I did not
It
expect
was a really
this.
good looking tarantula.
Not one,
too.
Yeah.
but
Yeah, she's
two
impressive.
huge desert blonde tarantulas. What we have here are a male and a female. And unfortunately for me, I think this video just turned from a tarantula bite test to a tarantula bite comparison. And I'm sure you are as curious as I am which of these two spiders has the more painful bite. It's time to find out. I am definitely nervous. Oh man.
And this is where we transition to like morning light. Yep. So we kind of hung out until daybreak, and then we sat at, what time is it in the morning right here?
Early. We were out there.
Yeah.
Is it
Bright
6?
and early, yeah.
5:36. The sun comes up so early in the desert and so fast. Like it's crazy. Like as soon as you see the sun break the horizon, it's just like boom.
Yeah, and you got to do it earlier. It gets too hot. Like I think we only had like an hour and a half to shoot this.
Yeah.
Yeah, narrow windows for production in the desert.
Totally. Yeah, because by the time 9:30 rolls around, it's baked. Like you don't want to be outside anymore, and the animals couldn't handle it either. So like that's like one of the most challenging things to me when I think about producing content in the desert. If you want to film during the day, you have to nail the window. Yeah. Like you have all night. Like if you just want to film it, we could have filmed this bite test at night, but it just wouldn't have looked the same. The camera, especially like the macro lenses, they don't look as good. We try to film them either like early in the morning or late at night when we're dealing with fragile animals like a tarantula. But yeah, like you have like such a sliver of time when you're out in the desert before that heat just gets you cooked. And I remember filming this one. That's the one memory I had is like, hurry up. Like there was like no time to waste at all.
Oh my goodness. 2 full-grown desert blonde tarantulas. And the table is now set
barely fit.
for the
I should have brought
ultimate
bigger cubes,
spider
man.
Bite test.
They can't even
here
like really
in the
like fully
Sonora
spread out
Desert.
there.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. What I'm about to do is a bad idea. Please do not attempt to recreate what you're about to see in this video. We have 2 tarantulas here in front of us. We have a male and the female, which we found unexpectedly. I think it is worth
Yeah, the
doing
females
a
are very
bite
rare to
test
find.
comparison to see
You find a lot of
which
males.
bite
I would
is
say you're
more
going to find like
ferocious, because these
20
spiders
males to
live
every
very
female
different
when you're out there
lives
looking.
from each other. Females actually live for a lot longer. We're talking 25 years for a female tarantula.
25
That's
years.
a
That's
crazy
wild.
fact.
Yeah.
They can get a drink.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely like pets out there that, there people keep pet spiders, but it's one of those animals that can outlive you. Mm-hmm. Like if you were to, buy a female tarantula when you're like in your 60s, that may be someone else's problem.
And only 5 to 10 years for a male. Females tend to bunker down. They stay a lot more localized to their nests, where the males are much more nomadic and predatory. I have a suspicion that we have a very different bite profile to these 2 spiders, and we are going to put that to the ultimate test. Let's take a closer look.
We really weren't intending to go out and do like the 2 sting test. Mm-hmm. It just sort of happened that way. It's one of those like elements of how we make stuff where you kind of take what's given to you and you like meld into it. There's this like reflex that we have that all of a sudden you're presented with an opportunity and you're like, oh, that's the pivot, the story we had not thought of. Do you guys remember that?
Oh, yeah. I have a question for you, though.
Sure.
You mentioned the bite profile. What was your hypothesis going into this? What were you thinking was going to be the worst one?
I thought they might be identical.
Oh,
actually.
really?
Yeah. I mean, they are the same species. I thought that, they both need to hunt to eat. It's not like the males are feeding the females or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was going to come down to more of like the aggression. So that's why I maybe was edging a little bit toward the male tarantula being more aggressive and giving a more violent bite. But that's sort of all I had to go with. And we had tried to do, so everybody knows, like we had tried to do this so many times in the past with like Coyote when I was like, directing his team. And, I'd actually tried once before in the desert. And sometimes like we couldn't find a tarantula or the tarantula just wouldn't bite. And it took me a little bit of research going into this production to be like, oh, that's how we're going to get them to deploy the fangs. Because if you just hold the tarantula like on your palm or on your skin, they may not bite. And
they're pretty docile. After
Yeah.
they have like an initial bite, like attack, like the one that attacked your snake hook, and then they kind of mellow out to a degree if you were to handle them.
But once they get a taste, they really go for it, as we're about to see. What's going on, guys? I am so excited to tell you about my brand new product, Summit Adventure Fuel. This pro electrolyte mix has taken me 2 years to develop, and I'm so excited because it's finally available to you. Summit Adventure Fuel is made with the best quality ingredients. We're talking top grade magnesium, potassium, and sodium. And the flavors in this make it taste incredible, and it's all natural. It's sugar-free, non-GMO. And now, you don't need to take my word for it. It is available to you on summitaf.com, or click the link in the description below. You're gonna love it. At Arizona's largest spider, ladies first. In order to get some really
Always
good
a
footage of the
gentleman.
spider, I'm going to move it into this glass dome. And of course, we don't want our spider to get away. All right, delicate little procedure here.
Not really sure looking back on this, like why we needed to switch the containers. I don't know how much this
they were a
added.
little small.
There
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well,
Perfect.
yeah, I guess that looks better.
Perfect transfer.
Look at that display. Oh, that's
Yeah.
why.
There you go. Look at those fangs. You can see like right there, like how all the fur and then the fangs just down there. I see one of our teammates, Jacob, is off camera right now, just squirming, looking at this thing. He hates spiders, and that's like one of the things that we get a lot. In fact, that's one of my interview questions that I ask people before they join the field team. Like, can you handle spiders? What was that like for you, Asa? You remember answering that?
I remember it was like a lot of really standard production questions, just like checking my camera and editing knowledge. And
Yeah.
then like just all of a sudden you were like, you like creepy crawlies? And I was like, yeah, just got like lying a little bit. And then you were like, so you're good with spiders and like centipedes and things like that. And I was like, yeah, I got no problem with them. Not at all. And just thinking like, what am I getting myself into? But then you do like, I think grow and like have an appreciation for them eventually. Not centipedes for me,
Yeah.
but for sure the tarantulas grow on me a lot. Like
Yeah.
I actually think they're really cool now.
Yeah.
You became brave.
Yeah, over the course of this production, like especially the female one, like it's such like a iconic looking tarantula. Like it grew on me. Like it had a little bit of a personality. You know, you kind of get a little bit of affection for it. You know.
I feel like from when we were kids, in like early 2000s and like 90s science books, they used to always have like tarantulas and red-eyed leaf frogs on the covers.
And there's so many movies that have like just demonized tarantulas into like some movies like treat them like, oh, a bite will kill you, or like I remember the classic like Home Alone when Marv gets like the spider put on his face, like and does a famous scream, and that always stuck with me. And I think that's for a lot of people, and probably the reason for arachnophobia in itself is like they've just been villainized so much through movies over time. And what about you, Andrew? You did you go into this with a little arachnophobia? Are you okay with spiders?
Yeah, a little bit. Like I'm fine with insects, fine with a lot of things, but like there's definitely like the knee jerk reaction when you see something with 8 legs, you get the extra 2 legs from an insect, and there's like that. I have that knee jerk reaction to it to a degree, but like this video and especially the edit, like staring at them over and over again for so long, kind of get over it a little bit.
It's hard to trust something that can be so agile. Like that's
they are fast.
Yeah, and that's one thing to me that anyone who has arachnophobia, I always like encourage, if you ever have a chance to like hold a tarantula, one that's has a low venom toxicity like these, do it, because you kind of start to understand their mannerisms and how they behave, and it makes all the other spiders sort of like kind of like diminish, at least like in that jump fear. Now there are spiders out there, if you're bitten it will kill you, so like you want to avoid those, but we don't have any of those in the United States.
Yeah, I think that's a good distinction of like old world versus new world.
Yeah, we didn't do a tarantula bite test recently in Thailand because of that. There's some tarantula, like the baboon tarantulas, and then of course you have like, they're not tarantulas, but they look like them, like Sydney funnel web spiders in Australia. That's a real bad bite. Fangs on these spiders are enormous. It's not just going to be the venom that I'm up against today. We're talking actual puncture wounds from fangs that large. In terms of what they're out here hunting and eating, pretty much anything that they can grapple onto. They are very strong spiders, and of course, possessing those large fangs, they could subdue a variety of prey. Even small lizards would be a good meal for a spider this size. I remember the first time I saw this cut, and this was put in, I laughed so hard.
The females tend to be a little bit bigger than the males. They are called a desert blonde.
You're good at that,
tarantula,
Andrew. You've got those
predominantly
nice
because
little
you
like
can see
comedic beats.
those hairs and just how blonde
Keep it fun.
they are in the middle. But that is a full-grown desert blonde tarantula. The best way to probably go about doing this is for me to grab it by its carapace, the top of the head of the spider, and I'm going to try to pin it, grab it, and then I'll be able to show you the fangs and, of course, inflict the bite right here on my thumb. All right.
So this is a very important moment coming
brought a
up
couple
that I
things
want
with
to
me
point out,
today.
but I want to
have large pair of
let
tweezers.
some of the suspense
Of course,
play
we
out
always
here.
bring
We
first
can
aid
scrub
kit.
ahead a little bit.
The thing I need the most is the EpiPen. The worst outcome that can happen besides the pain that I'm about to experience is an allergic reaction. I think it's time. Now the females are known for being a little more docile than the males. Beyond, well, easy girl.
So because it was daytime, she's just like, get me
So you
to
see
my
how it's
burrow,
rearing its
which is
abdomen up
probably
right
like
there.
20 yards
Beyond
behind us.
their capability to inflict
I wonder if
bites,
she sees the darkness
they
of your
also
shirt and is like,
possess
that
another
Totally.
defense
going
mechanism,
over there.
which is to flick the hairs off their abdomen. Females are rumored to be less aggressive, but this one looks ready to bite.
So
What I'm trying to do right now.
this was my first time actually like trying this method of holding a spider. And it's this idea of like grabbing it by its carapace like it was a crab or something. I had seen in videos and I was like, oh, and that's like what reignited my interest in doing this, because before we had tried to like just hold the spider and like hope that it would like inflict a bite, and then it just gets all messy and you can't see what's happening. And you know, spoiler alert, as we'll learn later, like if you just let them walk on you, like very, very rarely will they actually bite you. So, I mean, it can happen. I don't want to say it would never happen, but very, very rarely would you take a bite just handling one of this species. Now, this idea of holding it by the carapace, of course, gives me a little more leverage on where those fangs are. And again, as we've experienced with other insect stings and bites, once that stinger or fang gets a little taste or a little purchase of skin, it just kind of like does its evolutionary job.
Oh, yeah.
It goes for it.
Way for me to hold it for both me and the tarantula.
So I was nervous about this. I was like, oh man, is it gonna like it's gonna just like
Okay.
flip around and
That
like
was-
sink its fangs in my finger?
That made my heart go. Okay.
And I don't like to be bitten. I want to like throw that out there. It's just
Spider
like
just
a little
wants to come right at
disclaimer.
me.
Like this isn't like necessarily fun for me. Like I'm
my
interested
gosh.
in this,
Did you hear that?
and that will send
That is the
chills up your
sound
spine.
of
That
spider fangs.
that is real. That is
scraping.
actual audio.
Oh my gosh.
Listen to that one.
Did you hear that? That is the sound of spider fangs scraping the table.
And you can just hear the power. And that's like what it sounded like. That's just not the volume boosted for the sake of the edit. That's what it sounded like in real life. And I could feel the vibrations like through the spider going up my hand. And that's kind of the moment. This is the moment in the video where like the anxiety starts to hit. And this is true with almost all the bite sting videos. There's like a particular moment where I'm like, oh boy, here we go. I actually have to do this. We've built it up to this point, and now it's up to me to like actually, you know, bridge this gap of like, you know, kind of like production chops to actually going through with the infliction of the bite or sting.
This is one of those moments where I think after that happened, you were a lot more nervous than you typically are, like going into the actual sting moment. Like you were starting to be like, guys, I think this might be really bad.
Oh, dude, I was like very, I was nervous for two reasons. One, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to actually get it to bite me. One, and then we've just wasted a lot of time and I'm going to disappoint everyone. So I always feel bad about that. But then there's the other thing. I'm like, you see those fangs, and this isn't just like a bee sting. These are like daggers. Like there's going to be some like mechanical damage here. There's going to be some blood.
Okay. Look at the size of those fangs.
Like
And
those
their
fangs are
fangs
much
retractable,
thicker than
just
like
a
your
snake.
average
And
fishing
they are
hook.
thick.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
talking some very large fangs. Those are going to pop holes in my skin for sure.
You can feel me killing time,
Yeah.
even in the
Yeah.
edit. Like even in this edit, as we're like, you know, like looking back on this moment, I was definitely stalling. 100% admission, I was stalling.
A lot of nerves to do this. Okay, I've got to go.
Like,
grab
let's look
my
at the
spider.
fangs one more time.
I'm gonna go for it.
On 3.
Ace, did you get that shot?
I'm
You
Mark
want to try
Vins,
again?
and I'm about to take a bite from Arizona's largest spider, the desert blonde tarantula. On 3. 1. So nervous. 2. 3.
So
What are you thinking right there?
talk about tension,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like, is there in an image? I can't think of like more tension in our catalog than that.
Mm-hmm.
That ended up being the thumbnail, right? Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, feeling those fangs, you can feel them deploy and scratch across your skin, and then they're just sitting on the surface, like just you can feel just a tiny bit of pressure they're going through.
Mm.
It's like a cliff fall moment, and talk about becoming brave, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
so, like one of the themes that we really want to unpack on all these podcasts, but particularly the ones where we review the bite sting test, is like that mind over matter moment, and what it took to get to this point. And for me, even with all the research and like everything I knew, that the bite from these tarantulas was mostly mild in venom. I had talked to people who've been bitten. The fact that I know that they're fairly docile and they're not like just savage, gonna just like shred my thumb off. Like all those things were like part of the algorithm that was my decision to actually get to this point. But there's still the unknown of like, what's this one gonna do to me? What were you guys thinking?
I was just hoping I get the shot,
Staying locked.
Yeah. This is the moment that we travel all the way for. This is the big payoff.
It felt like one of the ones where there was no potential redo if something gets screwed up. So it's just game time at that point. Like I gotta say, whenever I'm in tight, I almost can't think about like how you're feeling in the moment beyond just being like, I just can't screw that moment up of capturing the moment of you going into pain.
Yeah. And this was a real moment. So a lot of times the size of the animal too, like will dictate if we have to like do multiple bites or stings. Luckily the spider's big enough that this was a one and done on both accounts. But yeah, this is definitely that moment of, I think, bravery in this episode where I look back on accomplishing what this was. There was a lot that went into it. Obviously production, everybody were working really hard. But for me personally, I was like, this is it. It's all come down to this very, very finite moment. And let's watch what happens.
Spider's fangs are on my skin.
Waiting for the moment of infliction.
Yep, got me.
Raised.
You can see there's a little blood right there. Only popped one fang through.
Jacob
I
wincing
think
off
I gotta take a
camera.
better bite.
I don't even think you can call that pop through. It like scratched me.
I am always impressed with the willpower it takes to like just hold, like there's usually a lot more time that we cut out between the actual bites and like it getting to your hand, where maybe it's like just for the purpose of the edit, it doesn't need to be there, but you actually sometimes are holding it there for maybe a minute or 2 minutes. And I think that takes a lot of willpower to do. Like,
Yeah.
what goes through your mind when that's going on?
Get it over with. Like that's what's going through my mind. It's like, anytime, like I wouldn't say I'm like loving it when I have to go to the doctor and get like a blood draw. Like I'm okay with needles, but like I never look at it. Right. You look away. You just you want the moment to be like past. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, I was like, okay, once the fangs are on there and it's like ready to go, I've already made the decision, and now it's just like, I want it to be over. And the tension is real. Like you can, I feel, I don't know if you guys can feel it through my actions. Like it's real. Like I'm seriously nervous through all this stuff. Even having done a couple dozen of these bite sting tests to this particular video, this was early on in the bite sting. I think it actually might be the first BSI rating.
Yeah.
Now I think back, we'll talk a little bit.
wait,
it
it's
wasn't.
not even.
It was from this trip. It was the scorpion.
Yeah.
The scorpion.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was like the second.
No, we didn't rate this one. This one isn't on
Oh,
the
it's not
BSI.
rated?
right.
No,
Oh
you're
my gosh, we have to rate it. Okay, guys, this podcast just got a little more exciting for me because we're going to rate this on the bite sting index at the end. But the everything leading up to will I do this or not? One of the themes of becoming brave that we're going to talk about is that willpower, and the willpower that it takes to let this happen to you, I will say, is a lot as compared to like an ant or a bee. Those are way easier. This is probably one of the hardest ones.
I'd imagine that your body naturally tenses up a lot in these moments. Do you make any active effort to actually relax the point that's going to be attacked?
I don't know. Like my mind, it's really weird, man. Like my mind sometimes goes like blank. It's I don't want to say like blackout, like I still remember it, but you sort of mentally can turn off some of your feelings in a weird way because it's not going to be fun. It's not good. You just want it to.
I kind of think your adrenaline is just pumping and almost like you're in that state.
Not usually till afterward.
Really?
Just
okay.
I could feel it, and adrenaline affects everyone differently, but for me, it always makes me nauseous. I get like this really like sour stomach right after this, like almost immediately. And I try to discount that in my review of the pain and the bite because I know it doesn't happen for everyone, but it's hard to ignore for me. Let's watch. Scraping away. Yeah, that time it got me. That time it got me good. Oh my God. That freaked me out. And I felt, oh my gosh, in that moment, I could feel the venom from the fangs inject.
Ooh.
So I could feel the fluid go in.
Gross.
So it wasn't just like a pinch. It was very much like a grappling sort of move that it made. It just
really
went in there,
really wrenched
squeezed pinched my skin, but I could actually feel the displacement of the venom.
Jacob's face behind the cameras is
pretty
ridiculous.
Good. Jacob's freaking out.
He's like dying.
Hang on, let me get the spider back. Get back in there, girl. Get back in there. Yeah, see right there. See that? So now, by this point, I know I'm good. That's how mild the venom is. Like, I know I'm okay. I don't know, like, how bad the swelling's going to get, or is this going to get, more itchy and painful. I don't know any of the aftermath, but in terms of the initial bite, I was like, oh yeah, okay. So this confirmed everything that I had been advised leading into this test was pretty spot on.
Definitely burns. Oh my gosh, my adrenaline is like firing right now, guys.
Yeah, the adrenaline was the
like
worst
my
part.
soul just jumped out of my body.
That
is the most freaked out I've been around an animal. Oh, and it definitely burns. Oh man. My neck, yeah. My neck is like seized up. It's like,
yeah, so there we go. That's kind of leading into the, does my body tense up? Yeah. And that's more adrenaline and tension than anything to do with the venom.
I've got a cramp right here. I don't know if it's from the bite or if it's from just the nerves and the tension. Oh my gosh.
I keep doing that, dude.
Yeah, basically. I don't think it's from the venom.
I gotta let these moments play out.
Definitely burns. It's definitely a burning sensation. I had to really try hard to get that spider to bite me. I want to point that out, that this spider did not want to bite, but that was not an aggression bite, for sure. Okay, I think I'm good enough to do another bite. I think it's time to bring in the second tarantula and see if the male can inflict a more aggressive
So what
bite
were you
with
guys thinking of this after just witnessing that? Like, what were your first impressions of the bite?
I mean, the female tarantula still looks kind of graceful and cool.
Yeah.
He looks a lot meaner.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna get you worse.
That's what everyone was guessing. Was like, even when we first caught these, we were like, that male is for sure gonna bite way quicker,
Way harder to catch, way faster, just more menacing the way it walked.
That's going to happen.
That's why we had it
Males are
second.
known to be more aggressive.
We had assumed
That's why
that
I
it was
wanted
going to
do
be
a
like
bite test here.
a more
much darker
like
in coloration
grandiose
than the female
moment.
too. Not looking forward to this.
I was like, man, I gotta do it again.
And my hand
Yeah, it's
still
already moving
burns
quicker
that
than the
first
female.
bite. Okay, come here. Come here, you. Come here, you.
So just so everyone knows, I'm being super gentle on these spiders because they are fragile. I just want to point that out. I know a lot of people who keep spiders are gonna comment on this video and they're gonna, say how fragile. I'm aware, and I was being as gentle as possible.
Got a pin. Oh my gosh. Way stronger. Way stronger.
Whoa.
So see,
Way
like
more
there's an
aggressive.
example. I wasn't
Got
trying to
it,
crush
exactly.
it. See my head shaking. Oh my gosh.
Oh boy, that was tough. Okay. there you have it.
I was really proud of myself that I could actually hold these spiders like this, guys. Like, because I had no idea if this was actually going to work. Like I always go into these to instill confidence in our team. Like, I got this, but this is certainly like a piece of this video that I really didn't know if it was going to pan out.
The male desert blonde tarantula. There are the fangs. You can see just as
You're shaking.
terrifying as the female spider. You can see there's even venom on these. Okay, on 3. I'm about to take my second bite, this time from a male and a much more aggressive desert blonde tarantula. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Just waiting for the bite to come. You see, he does not want to bite me.
Not as angry as the female.
No. Big reaction is that these animals do not want to bite me. So while we've given this spider plenty of opportunity to inflict a bite,
And we
you
gave
can
it a lot
see-
more opportunity than that, just so everybody knows. Like, that was one of probably 6 attempts.
Yeah.
And it never even let its fangs down. They were like tucked up against its body. Like
Yeah,
there's
it
no
was
way to
really,
get the
really
point
passive.
even
And you
near
can
the
see the
skin.
sun on my hand right here. It was starting to warm up. We're
Yeah.
probably an hour and a half into the shoot at this point in time, and wasn't going to push it any further because we didn't want the spiders to, get cooked, and we wanted to let them go before it got too bright.
It really has no intent to do me any harm. And frankly, it should be a lot more afraid of me than I am of it. So I hope after watching this video, we all have learned some important lessons.
Thought this was a
about
cool shot
Arizona's
coming
largest
up.
spider. Even though
Love
these
that.
spiders are large and admittedly pretty creepy,
Double tarantula
we
hole.
really have no reason.
This is like one of my favorite
Fear them.
outros. I think
And honestly,
we've
their
done.
venom isn't that strong because spiders this large tend to use their strength to overtake their prey. They don't want to bite you, and even if they do, it's really not that bad. All right, let's let our spiders back off into the desert.
If you enjoyed that episode,
There you are, bitten by a tarantula. Now,
without a rating.
without a rating. So we're going to get into the BSI rating. I want to put this on the index. Let's pull up the index. bravewilderness.com. For anybody who wants to know where you can see the list, I've been seeing a lot of comments out there on the Brave Wilderness YouTube channel about the BSI list. It is now on our website. So if you go to bravewilderness.com, scroll down, put in your email so you get all the updates. Of course, you got to do that. And then there's the Bite Sting Index right here. And there it is, Pain Mountain. And we have to place. This needs updated, but
There's
it's
a few that need to be placed.
yeah. We need to put the tarantula on here. I've given away a lot, so there's not a lot of suspense. So I'm just gonna go for it on this. I think intimidation is gonna be the highest score. Intimidation. I mean, the spider's huge. Its fangs are enormous. You could see like the biggest moment of bravery was actually getting those fangs on my skin and letting it try to bite me. So I got to give it a 8.8.
Wow, yeah.
8.8.
I mean, that's fair. Anytime
add
you
this
mention
up.
that you're nauseous after the sting, that means the intimidation score should be legit. Like you had a physical like a biological reaction to the intimidation. So
8.8.
fair.
I'm going to give it an 8.8. That, looking down the list of intimidation, so
And I mean,
beats the hairy scorpion. It not as high as a banded hornet. That mean those kill people. So yeah, that tracks. Yeah, I think that's a fair score. 8.8. Pain. This one's tough because it didn't hurt that bad, but it also deserves to be like mid-tier. I'm gonna say 5.9. 5.9 for pain.
higher than the scorpion, huh?
Definitely.
Oh, cool. Oh,
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. For aftermath, low. It wasn't bad at all. I would say it gets a 3.
Okay.
What's that total up to, Asa?
We're at 17.7. So I'm gonna
Drum roll, please.
puts it at a 5.9.
5.9. Okay, that feels fair. Just
Yeah.
above the trap jaw. That tracks. What do you guys think? Is that a fair score?
I think so. That
Okay.
makes sense to me. You know, the intimidation score being that high, especially with the giant hairy scorpion, yeah, it was a little more intimidating than the giant hairy scorpion, I think, from your account, you know?
Yeah, and one of the cool things about this episode that I really like, because yes, we're doing this for your entertainment. It's supposed to be fun to watch. It's supposed to make you squirm. There's supposed to be tension and drama. But ultimately, you're supposed to learn something through myself going through this and the team making these videos. And for this one, it's that these spiders are really docile and you can handle them fairly easily. Those are wild spiders, guys. Those are not pets. And you could see by the end of the video how comfortable they got around me, and they were just like little sand puppies. That's what I felt like. I was always like little puppies. And these spiders really shouldn't be feared. There are other spiders in the desert that I wouldn't want climbing around in my tent. But if you see a tarantula like that in the Southwest, you can just shoot out of the way. It's going to be fine. And I think that's cool. That's a cool part of this video, that it's got this redeeming factor for the insect or arachnid. What do you guys think?
Well, if you're in Asia, Australia, Africa, or anywhere else, steer clear. do not attempt what you just saw, no matter what.
That's a good note.
It's a very good note. There are tarantulas out there you really want to avoid. So, yeah, I guess depending on where you're watching this from, take that with a grain of salt. Like, it needs to be this species of spider. And that's true with a lot of these insects. I mean, there are scorpions same way.
In general, if you see a big spider, you're better off not
Don't mess with it.
agitating
Leave it alone.
That's a blanket statement for all wildlife, though. Like,
Yeah,
if you don't
that's
know
right.
what it is,
Yeah,
you
don't-
have to treat it like it's dangerous.
Yeah.
That's definitely a good way to live. But in terms of this video, the biggest moment of bravery for me was taking the bite. For you guys, what was your moment that you had to overcome?
I think just wandering around in the desert at night, because we have lights on our cameras. So a lot of the time that's kind of like overpowering like our natural night vision or any like personal headlamp that we have. So you're kind of like, your periphery is actually pretty limited. So kind of just accepting that, or being really careful, and also just accepting that, there's an element of danger just walking around out here. That was kind of my moment, at least.
Asa?
I would kind of agree with that. I mean, typically as the camera guys, you're just always a little more focused on you and a little less on your surroundings, but you always know there's that danger aspect of not knowing exactly where you're stepping.
You can legitimately step on a rattlesnake, and you almost did. In
I did.
A recent trip.
Yeah. There was 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Came within like 6 inches of stepping on a rattlesnake. Didn't
Didn't
rattle.
rattle.
Yep. It was cold that night, so that could have been really bad.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the environment that is the most dangerous, and the things that we're focused on are the safest part of the video. So, in terms of takeaway from this video, I'm not sure that there's a big, bravery award to be had. But yeah, like for me, like getting bitten was tough, but the outcome was a really cool video. Like I really like this video. It's one of my favorite from our bite sting experiments that we've done so far. The audience has really liked it as well. And with that, do you guys want to dive into the comments section? You want to give some people some shout outs? And
Let's check it out.
Yeah.
What's going on, guys? I am so excited to tell you about my brand new product, Summit Adventure Fuel. This pro electrolyte mix has taken me 2 years to develop, and I'm so excited because it's finally available to you. Summit Adventure Fuel is made with the best quality ingredients. We're talking top grade magnesium, potassium, and sodium. And the flavors in this make it taste incredible, and it's all natural. It's sugar-free, non-GMO. And now, you don't need to take my word for it. It is available to you on summitaf.com. Or click the link in the description below. You're gonna love it.
okay, the top comment with 4.2 thousand likes.
Should we say the name?
Sure, go ahead, Andrew, read it.
That is Frosty Nipples. So we'll pull that up on screen right now. That is, I'm just saying what it is.
There's a lot of creative imagination out there in the world. I think just in the handles alone. I really want to show you, Frosty Nipples says, I really want to show you my appreciation. Oh, I really want to show my appreciation for this team and their videos. I'm a pretty big arachnophobe, and but this has cut my fear at least tarantulas in half. Could I bring myself to hold one? But the fear of being bitten is pretty minimal now. That's great.
That kind of like makes my day, like that's the whole mission of the video, really.
Totally. And thank you, Frosty Nipples.
Yeah, shout out Frosty Nipples.
Yeah, keep the comments coming. Let's see what else we got. Thanks for being gentle with the spider. See? Told you. People love these things. The part where Mark said ladies first got me laughing crazy. What was that? I got to enlarge this. I can barely see. There we go. Now I can see it.
The one Fang Tao, 2005.
Okay. There's Saturn Shishi. Or was that say? Senshi? Says, thanks for giving Coyote a break from being bitten all the time. You're welcome. Got a lot of other comments in there too. I don't think we want to unpack. As a tarantula collector, I appreciate you showing that tarantulas are pretty harmless and do not want to attack bite you, says Dig Dug 44. Seeing how you were attempting to be bitten by scientific name, I already knew you'd be fine. See, there we go. If it was an old world African or Asian species, then I'd be worried for you. Haha.
See, you passed the vibe check from the tarantula community too.
Yeah, the spider dorks are all behind you.
This guy is a legend, says the dude. Man, I really love that from the dude. And he also says the respect he has for the creatures is awesome, and his willingness to do this for our entertainment and to give shows a true understanding of each creature he encounters is brilliant. He literally is putting his life on the line. I'm not so sure in this one, but I'll take the compliment. With each experience he comes across, this is truly taking animal programs, documentaries up another level, and I don't think this has ever been done before. Sir Attenborough would definitely be in awe of this guy.
Are
Wow.
you the dude?
Are
you the dude?
Guys,
Are you the dude?
I'm the dude 4794. A plant. No. I will take that though. Thank you, the dude. I'm not sure we've quite attained the Sir Attenborough comparison, but I certainly appreciate the nice comment. We always love those.
I like this Eggy 7346. Mark is a complete unit. Dude's like, not good enough. Let's do another. I just love that they're just like, they start off the sentence with Mark is a complete unit.
Well, you got recognized, Eggy. All right, what else we got? Is there any like negative? I was hoping we'd get some Raz in
Vibes
here.
are pretty good, man.
We need more hate.
Bro, I appreciate how this channel is just getting all the pain from insects and animals just for us to learn. That's right, says Nut.
I think that's Nutella. It's like a
Nutella
variation.
Yum?
Yeah, Nutella Yum.
This man is pure bravery. Props to him for risking his life to make us entertained. Again,
Andrea Dudas.
Andreas Dudas, that is me. No, I appreciate that. It's nice of you. Again, no, the risks are all calculated. Like, that's one thing I want to point out. I think a really important part of what I consider to be bravery, there's a difference between bravery and stupidity. Like, bravery is when you take a risk in an educated way, and you're doing it with information, and there's still some unknowns, but you're going into it with expectations. Stupidity is doing things without information and without expectations. If I just were to go around the world getting bitten and stung by everything without doing research or asking around, that would be stupid. Don't do that. Do you agree, Asa?
I would agree with that.
I don't think the channel would be around.
No, it
Had
would
that been the case.
really short-lived. I don't think there's a really good negative comment in here, which means we did our job really well. Congratulations, guys. The segment's not as funny as it could have been. All right, we're gonna have to go to some of our more of our videos where we get some hate. 'Cause those are sometimes fun to read. Do you guys? I don't get offended by negative comments. Do you?
Can't hear in the YouTube game.
No.
No.
You got to have thick skin, and it's good to have criticism. I actually encourage people to give us negative feedback because that's what helps us actually change. That's the stuff that actually gets implemented. Like, while we appreciate the kind and nice and motivational comments, they kind of reinforce what we're doing. If there's anything that you want to see changed, let us know. We do read the comments. Now we read them on the podcast. What other kind of funny stuff happened on this, guys? Let's do some overtime.
This video was the debut of some new gear for us, actually.
Really? What gear?
XF 605s.
XF 605s, yeah.
Oh my gosh, guys, we're not talking about gear.
Yeah, that's too dorky.
That is
They're also
way deep.
I gotta say, camcorders are the dork camera.
They are dorky.
They're so useful, though.
Yeah, they're
so good.
awesome.
Love me a good camcorder. What else? What are some other memories of this Arizona trip?
You know, one thing I didn't realize about Arizona is when you're outside of like the old part of Tucson or just like in, I would say most of the smaller things you come across in Arizona are actually, it's like the same 5 things. There was that slushy shop that I don't.
Eggies?
Yeah.
Eggies. Oh,
Those were
gross.
weird.
Dude, they're gross. I don't like
That
them.
must be an acquired taste that's out there because they were like almost like
They had like protein in them or something. There was
frosted fruit cup
Chunky
slushies
fruit.
that were like
It's kind of like
whipped cream on top.
Dude, it was like a barf sushi.
Yeah.
Or barf slushy. Barf sushi. It was just not good. It was. I don't like chunks in my drink. Did you guys get choya? Did you like?
No, not properly
No.
tried.
I warned you. Like it was
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
Well, you
forward about
have the Choya video out there where you just get
annihilated.
yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah, generally, if
That's
you
actually a good
the guy,
video.
the guy who's getting bit and stung by stuff warns us about something, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be on the lookout. You know.
Yeah, that's like the biggest PSA I tell people. Like, what's going to happen to you if you go exploring through the Sonoran Desert is you're most likely going to run into a cholla cactus, and they also are called jumping cactus because the vibrations from your feet walking by is enough to knock them off, and just the subtle touch onto a cholla cactus, they will just almost like absorb into your skin, and they have reverse barbs, so you have to rip them out, and it is just probably one of the most painful things if you haven't experienced it before. And then the other thing on top of that is you need to use a tool, because if you try to use your hand, it's like Velcro. It's like everywhere it touches, it's just going in deeper and deeper and deeper. So those cholla cactus, man, they're the real deal. And that was probably like the dumbest video I've ever made. Not the worst video. There's definitely been worse videos, but the dumbest video I ever made was the time I went through a cholla maze blindfolded.
In search of chocolate cake as your reward.
Red velvet cake. Thank you very
right,
much.
right.
It's not just, it is a form. To be fair, technically it is a chocolate cake, so you're not wrong, but red velvet, to be clear. That's my favorite cake.
Right.
And the whole concept was we were trying to gamify some of these wilderness adventure experiences. So I brilliantly came up with this idea, like, what if I go through a cholla maze blindfolded and get a cake at the end? And I didn't realize how covered, I guess I should have. I didn't realize how covered I was going to get in cholla, and it was a lot. And I remember I was legitimately blindfolded, and like they don't move. Like the cholla cactus, they look like they would just fall over if you walked in. They're trees. So I was like, bang, and I could just feel all of the cholla like peeling off. And then when I took the blindfold off and I saw how covered I was, it legitimately took about 40 minutes to debarb. And some of those cholla were deep in the groin, dude. It was bad.
Would you say that's one of your most painful videos?
Definitely like one of the most painful experiences I've had intentionally, somewhat intentionally. I didn't mean to have that many, but it was dumb. Yeah. So not everything I do is brave. Some of it is stupid. And that is definitely one of them. Don't walk through the desert blindfolded. Who would have thunk? All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us today on another podcast. This is Becoming Brave, and we look forward to future videos where we unpack Brave Wilderness episodes, adventures, and more. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.